Thank you to you. Sup, Panama? That's awesome. Michelle. Hi, Mel. Michelle, he's not with you, is he? On your Instagram? Sorry, guys. Hang in there. I love it. Arturo from Panama has been doing a lot of these too, so he knows about the sometimes challenges. Hey, I think I see North Carolina's in the house. All right, we have a request. Hey. It worked this time, I think. Should be popping on any second. Yay! It worked this time.
I
I couldn't find you before.
found
There,
you.
yeah, thank you. There you are. We restarted and we've got you, and we already got a fan club going. All kinds of people that you know, and some that you probably don't, that are going to get to know you now. So, Anthony, we're going to have to keep it rolling because there's so much to talk about. Because you are such an important person in the stand-up paddle world, and you do so many different things, have done so many different things. But let's start with, I mean, your water was part of your life from early on, but you didn't live right on the water. So, kind of how'd you get started in stand-up? But let's back up a little bit. What's your water history?
Well, I grew up swimming, and my brother swam, so I started swimming competitively when I was 4, and that just led me to the beach. I lived inland, about an hour away from the beach, so our swim team used to go to the beach, and I'd see all the kids running around doing junior guards at Huntington Beach, and I always loved the beach. We would go on a trip to Hawaii every year with the swim team, and so it was just it's great because it gave me that confidence to go into the ocean with being able to swim and hold your breath and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but before that, I just want to say thanks for having me on, Kristen, and
Oh,
just figuring it out here I'm at my mom's house actually, which is funny because we've been
okay.
talking about that. She had a medical emergency, so I
Oh, I'm
came over
sorry.
here. It's okay. So I came
Yeah,
over here to be with her, and I think the Wi-Fi maybe was slow or something, so I had to move. I was trying to go outside, so I moved
to
inside.
find it.
So
Yes.
thank you for having me, and yeah, I got started in a pool.
Yeah. So you started there, but and I want to say actually before we go any farther, the first thing is happy birthday yesterday. I can't believe I talked to you and I didn't realize it was your birthday.
That's
Mr.
okay.
Humble, he hides these things, but it
It was it was undercover.
not for long though. People let it out of the bag, which is good. You should be celebrated. But that so that pool and that you did swimming, water polo, that kind of thing, definitely moved to the ocean. And I would say most of your life has been very driven by your love of salt water, even more so, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's as you know, as a swimmer, the following the black line back and forth is, although it provides many great benefits, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. And the venue doesn't change. The water has to be a certain temperature. The pool is 25 yards by 25 yards or 50 meters, whatever it is. That's, I think, what drew me to the ocean is it was always changing, and it's such a dynamic environment to be in. So it's just ever since I first started going to the ocean, I'm really thankful for my parents who, even though they weren't surfers, they liked the beach and the ocean. And they really, from a young age, did a great job getting me to the beach and to the ocean. And I really want to thank them for that.
Yeah, and it does make a big difference because it's challenging, like you said, an hour away and everything. So you met that challenge and continued as an LA County lifeguard. You lived in Australia because you were very good at those competitions, those life-saving competitions, and competed there for how many years?
I did lived in Australia for 7 to 8 years, kind of off and on. I would go over there for 7 to 8 months during our winter and their summer, and would participate in all of the different surf life-saving competitions, swim races. I competed in longboard surfing as well, and just tried to, their culture, their aquatic culture is just a lot more involved than it is over here, or evolved, I should say. And so
Yeah.
it's where I really had a chance to hone a lot of ocean skills. So I thankful to everyone in Australia, and just it's an amazing culture over there. And we're lucky in stand-up paddling that the surf lifesaving kind of has a stronghold on all the great athletes, because there could very easily be 50 of the top paddlers in stand-up if a lot of more of them were to cross over. We've seen a few,
Yeah.
but I know there's a lot of great athletes over there.
They are really set up for it, aren't they, and all that they do. Well, when I met you, you were not, you had started probably stand-up paddling, but I met you as a top level traditional or prone paddleboarder. You were competing in that, I think, in an early stand-up race I was in.
Yeah, that's my background, and how I got into stand-up sort of thing is just doing all the different lifeguard competitions. I swam, I prone paddled, I did surf ski, I did outrigger canoe paddling. And so once stand up came around, I had done all these other skills that kind of helped prepare me for stand up. And I think when we met, I was training for the Catalina Classic paddleboard race, which is 32 miles from the island of Catalina to Manhattan Beach. And so even 2010, 2011, I was still doing a lot of prone or traditional paddleboarding, and then jumped right into stand up.
Yeah. And I was remembering, I mean, this is how gnarly you are, but also different sports have different issues, that you had done a really long distance practice paddle before this race and then done this race. And so your chest had just been rubbed raw from laying down and from that back and forth. It's just, we get different types of injuries or challenges from that. But I thought, oh my God, that guy's rad. That was my first impression of you, and you are, among many other good things too. So stand up. Who talked you into it?
Well, I had an opportunity in 2004, actually. I went to Hawaii and participated in the Buffalo's Big Board Surfing Contest, which those people that know about it, it's one of the most fun surf contests, or I wouldn't even call it a surf contest, but one of the most fun contests in the world. There's all different styles of competing. And that was when stand-up was just kind of starting to, start up. And it's actually the surfing side of stand-up took on before the racing side.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular year in 2004, I was staying with Brian Kealana, who his family is the ones that put on Buffalo. Kealana is Brian's dad. So I had the opportunity to stay with Brian at his house for 2 weeks, and they were just starting to stand up paddle surf, and did it every day there and fell in love and competed. They called it beach boy style surfing, and back then there wasn't the name stand up yet. And so for the 2 weeks that I was there, because I had access to boards and paddles, I stand up paddled every day along with all the other activities that we did. But it wasn't until 6 years later I had the chance to really do stand up more. So I first was introduced in Hawaii in Makaha in 2004. I didn't get to do it for 6 years, but through lifeguarding, I would stand up on a kayak and hold the double-sided kayak from the top, and tried to keep doing it because it was an awesome thing to do and so much fun. And finally in 2010, Mike Fox, the previous owner of Boardworks, is the one. He's actually a lifeguard as well, and he was at the lifeguard nationals in 2010, and I won a couple of events, and they were coming out with this new board, and so he's like, hey, we'd love for you to ride this new M&M board, and that's how I got into the sport and started competing.
Yeah, and boy, when you jumped in, it was with both feet on the racing side. I didn't realize you'd started so early in surfing. That's amazing, 2004. So really early into it, before it was even named. That is cool that it was surfing there. So 2010 was a big year for you. Not only did you start, as you jumped in and won some major races right off the bat. Tell us some 2010 early race memories that you have.
Well, my first race was the San Clemente Ocean Fest. That was in 2010. That's when I was still doing a lot of paddleboarding, prone paddleboarding, and the Catalina race was in August. So I competed in that, and then the Lifeguard Nationals was just before that. Right after Catalina is where I had a chance to start stand-up paddling, and the Battle of the Paddle that year was my second event. And then it was the next year. The next year, 2011, was, I spent the whole winter, 2010, 2011 training, and then once April came around, the Carolina Cup was one of the first events, and Boardworks had a big presence in North Carolina, and Haywood, Newkirk, and all the guys over there, and guy Chris. So I went over and did the Carolina Cup and won that. And it's a pretty prestigious field to be in now. When you look at me, then Danny Ching won for a few years, and Tituan won for a few years, and now Michael
And
Booth. So it's a trophy I'm honored to be on.
yes, I love perpetual trophies, and I'm so proud to go and visit it, and that you're on it, and you were the first name on there. That's pretty impressive, and something, yeah, something to always be proud of. That's awesome. So professionally, I know we had a question from somebody about, well, some people want to talk. We'll be talking about how much knowledge you have from all these years, but they want to talk board size, that kind of thing. But I'm going to put that off a little later. And one thing being, multi-vessel is Molokai to Oahu, which is an amazing event. I've only done it once as a relay, but wow, on so many levels, a wow. But what's especially wow is that you've done it solo on multiple watercrafts. Was
Yep.
it prone that you did?
Yeah. So in 2013, I did it on a paddleboard, a unlimited paddleboard, and I didn't train that much for it because I was doing stand up at the time. But
Yeah.
I really, it was something I always wanted to do when I was paddleboarding. Some of my really good friends had won it, from Mick DeBetta and Tim Gare, and then obviously what Jamie Mitchell did with the Molokai to
Yeah.
Oahu. So the first time I ever did Molokai was on a paddleboard. And I had known that there's a couple people, Guy Perry, a Hawaiian waterman that many people would know. He was, I think, the first guy to do it paddleboard and SUP. He was one of the first guys to kind of do it on both craft. And I had done it with a team with my friend Jonas one year. And it's such an expensive race. It's about a $5,000 race to do it, and I'd love to do it every year, but it just
Mhm.
takes so much to actually do it. And finally, in 2018, through the help of a lot of the performance paddling team members and some personal friends that helped me raise the funds to be able to go and do it solo. So again, that's one of the things, kind of like the Carolina Cup, that I'm most proud of, is being, there's a select few people that have done Molokai on different craft and
Mhm.
stand up and paddleboarded. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, besides having been at the very top of the game in terms of the racing, you also play a lot of different roles. And one of them is you started a number of events, actually. Um, which one pops into your head first? And we'll talk about, we have to mention at least two or three.
Well, I helped started just a local event back home called the Dana Point Harbor Hoot. And oh, you got the Harbor Hoot shirt on.
I
Yeah.
do.
And that was an event last year. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hold the event this year due to what we're going through now. But, it was just in Southern California, especially. I feel that, some of the races have, for lots of different reasons that we won't go into, have just not been around. And I spend a lot of time traveling to other races around the world. I'm like, wait, we need something in our hometown. So we got a committee together that you were a big part of, and enlisted some of the help of the locals around, and just tried to put on an event, from paddlers for paddlers sort of thing. And it was pretty cool with the turnout. We had over 150 people for our first year event, and
Amazing.
it was awesome. And a lot of the knowledge of putting on events comes from my mom, actually, when she used to run swimming races when I was little. And so I didn't really know back then I was training for all of this to happen right now, and
You're
just
probably a
helping my
runner and
mom.
a timer, and you learned how
Yep.
all the different, roles that there are and are super important. Yeah. And
Yep.
even, I mean, the Harbor Hoop was amazing, and it will come back. But one of the things that I think you have to be so proud of, and like we were talking about, the people who came out of it, was what you did for the youth, who many are now the top pros. So talk a little bit about your Sup Fiesta that you had that was focused on under 18.
Yeah, the Junior Pro and Youth Sup Fiesta. We originally, Candace Appleby and I, we wanted to create something. There are so many awesome kids around, and there are events that have a kids portion, but no event that was just for the kids. So we tried
Mm-hmm.
to make a rad venue, and Supconnect was a huge part of it back then. And we did a live webcast the first couple of years, and we brought together kids from all around the world and put up $5,000 in prize money for a junior pro surfing contest.
Mm-hmm.
Hired judges, had live scoring, and tried to put on a professional event that we would be stoked to be in. for the kids. And if you look at the competitors that have gone through that, from Riggs Napoleon, Ridge Lenny, Fiona Wild, Izzy Gomez, Mo Freitas, Fisher
Amazing.
Grant, Kieran Grant. The list is long. And we also wanted to have a age group portion. So we had 7 different age divisions. And a lot of times in youth races, everyone goes at once and then they parcel out the medals for different age groups. Very rarely do you see individual heats of boys racing with boys of their own age, girls racing with girls of their own age. And so we put together this event that had all of those things. And again, we had an awesome committee to help. I think that's a huge part of events, is having a committee of knowledgeable people and parceling out the work. And you, of course, were a big part of that, every single committee meeting of all the 4 years. And, that I think helped kind of give me a start in the race directing. After that, PPG came around and was the race director all the 4 years of PPG, and now APP and ISA. So it started with helping my mom in swim meets, then Sup Fiesta, the Junior Pro and Youth Sup Fiesta, and now I'm doing events all over. And of course, the one local event, the Harbor Hoot.
And all over, no kidding. The last couple of years, you really, and I think that's maybe a piece that people don't know so much about you, because sometimes being the race director, as busy as you are, you're not right in front of the camera. You're too busy making everything happen behind it. But you have locally, the PPG probably was earlier, but then you are running the APP tour for the last year or two, I think, and really big international ISA. And I definitely want to touch on, because it really is the top of where our sport has been in some respects, the Pan American Games, that the stand-up paddling was part of the Pan Am Games, is really cool, along with other sports, with other countries.
The Pan American Games experience, I mean, was just, it was incredible. I flew to Peru early and sat in these meetings, 2 days of 8-hour meetings, going over literally every little detail. Stand up was part of the surfing venue. So let's say, like, kayaking. There's flat water kayaking. There's river kayaking. So there's all these different sports under one umbrella. And swimming, there's swimming, water polo, synchronized swimming, open water swimming. There's all these sports under the one umbrella. So surfing was included in the Pan American Games, and we're thankful for the ISA for including shortboard, longboard, stand-up paddle surfing, and stand-up paddle racing to be part of the event. And I mean, it's the biggest stage that stand-up has been on. And a lot of, people that don't live in the Americas, they don't know about the Pan American Games, but it's the equivalent would be the Commonwealth Games, that European countries, Australia, New Zealand, they all compete in the Commonwealth Games, which is, the Pan American Games is the second largest multi-sport event, 46 different venues. And it was just incredible. And just to put it into perspective, the surfing side of it, every single heat that was run, there are 16 people that make this heat happen, from the 6 judges, the spotter, the tabulator,
wow,
the replay guys. Each surfer has one camera designated on them so that they can be able to watch the replays in case something happens. And the head judge has an iPad where he can click on any wave of any surfer and look at the scores to try and give the most fair score. So to help consult on the surfing side, and then organize all the racing and come up with the course and give a venue for these athletes to perform. It was incredible to be part of. And I mean, the president of the entire country was at the surfing final, the finals day. And, it blew my mind, the level that surfing stand-up being a part of it, that was included in such a big multi-sport event.
Well, I think the fact that you can organize SUP as well as SUP surf has really, I mean, that's a niche that I can't think of anybody else who can do what you do. I mean, I know there's quite a few race directors and probably surf contest directors, but very few have both of those skills. So I'm pretty sure you're going to stay very popular as we continue to grow this sport of stand-up paddling in its many different ways. But that's so awesome that you have that ocean background. along that, we weren't going to get into technical stuff, but Jeff Bryant did want you to talk about board sizes a little bit. And his question, I swear not a setup, will you, wait, where is it? Is 14 feet now the new standard in competition for male and female and all disciplines? We
Oh
talk
man,
about this a lot. I
yeah,
swear.
it's one of my favorite, topics to talk about. And Jeff, from Ocean River Coaching, he's actually a person that helps, and he's kind of my right hand man for the ISA events and in Peru. And we have this discussion a lot as well. And I mean, it appears that it has gone that way, much to my dismay, because I feel that the surf side of the sport is what I enjoy. I think it's the most exciting. I think races in and out of the surf are kind of how the sport was created, from the battle of the paddle. That's really where the racing side of the sport started, was in 2008 with the battle of the paddle. People wanting to see the carnage and boards going up in the air, and the excitement of being in front and getting pounded and someone makes it through so to me, that's the most exciting. And the smaller the board, the easier it is to make it out and in. If you think about Australia and they're prone paddleboarding, you start on a 6-foot board when you're in the nippers or junior lifeguards. Then once you're 14, you move to a 10-foot 6-inch board, and that's their standard is 10 feet 6 inches, and that's what they do races in and out of the surf. Now then they have 12-foot boards and unlimited boards for channel crossings and things like that. But I think in general, in the surf, smaller boards are better. But I think stand-up has kind of, maybe transitioned a little bit away for the mass to more long-distance style racing. People just want to go fast. So if you're doing a flat water race, a 14 board's faster, or an unlimited board is faster. So to answer Jeff's question, yeah, I think 14 has kind of become the standard, just to make it easier on the athletes to not have to carry around so many boards. But I will say that at the APP events, a lot of I think the men have more access to different size boards because they've been with their sponsors longer. If you think how long Connor's been with Starboard, or Casper's been with Nash, so a lot of the APP sprint events, all the top men in the finals are usually on 12.6s.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally, we'd like to have multiple boards, but I think, part of it is, if you're going to have one, which one will it be? But if you were specializing in ocean racing and surf racing, which a lot of people wish there was more of, a smaller board makes a lot of sense. Certainly, if I had lots of boards, you would want to have both. So thank you for answering that question. In terms of being a race director, you got a compliment from Sarah from Sup Junkie. And she said, "You're an incredible race director. Can you let us know which event sticks in your mind as being incredible? And that can be because of location, event, or just that everything ran super smooth."
Nothing ever runs super smooth. I think, there's so many, it's hard to pinpoint, but just from the sheer numbers, I think being part of the event in France, which, oh my gosh, nothing ran according to plan, because there's so many people. But there's
That's
1,000
the December
people.
one, right? The freezing one.
That's the December one. 1,000 people sign up to race down the Seine River, past the Statue of Liberty, in freezing cold temperatures. And even though it was going to be windy, cold, and rainy, 933 people showed up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eiffel Tower, not Statue. You have done Statue of Liberty also, and that was another event.
Yeah. Yes. The Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
Correct. Not the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. So, to be able to do these kind of destination things, to go to paddle past landmarks and have this setting is just incredible. And then the day before, for the APP competitors, they race in a pool. So one day they're racing head to head in a pool. The next day they're racing with over 900 people down this river. I think that's an event that stands out, and I'm stoked to be part of that.
So wild and wonderful. Yeah. So you started with on an M&M, and I was on Sup Love, I think, when I first met you. But we're lucky to have been with an awesome local company for quite a while now. So, we talked about the family of putting on races, and we have the family of boards. I know you have a very strong family. You've been with Jimmy and Quick Blade for a long time. But one of our close to heart, and you have a lot of them on here, is the training group that you started, an in-person training group, which I certainly feel so lucky, and a lot of people don't have that opportunity. But talk a little bit about launching that and what we have going here in not at the exact moment, but in general here in Dana Point.
Well, you touched on it, so I'm just gonna, add in being part of the Quick
Sure.
Blade and Infinity family are, huge to be part of, these authentic brands that were they're in manufacturing before stand-up came around through other sports. And so, I've given up a lot of, different opportunities to, stick with Quick Blade. To be part of such an authentic brand is so awesome. And, same thing with Infinity, that we get to ride these boards that are just, they're made right up the street from where we train.
Mm-hmm.
And, they've branched out into sending boards around the world. So to be with such authentic brands is really neat, because these types of brands are just really genuine. They're out there doing it. They're in the industry, in the sport, doing it themselves. So thanks, Jimmy and Lizzie and Hugo and everyone at Quick Blade, and
Mm-hmm.
Dave and the family from Infinity. You guys are all awesome, and Elo. But the Performance Paddling Training Club is something that's pretty cool to be a part of training athletes. And to me, an athlete is somebody that puts in the time. And you can be 27 or 72, and we have all of those in the Performance Paddling Training Club. And basically, it's like a gym. People pay a monthly fee. We have 5 sessions that are offered per week. We run year round. This is, I think, the difficult part for other people to contact me and try to figure out how to run and organize these things. But really, you need to have it year round. So to have the coaching staff that we have behind us, I think, is the way that it makes it successful. Having Candace Appleby, Dave Bainey, Carl Ring, Jack Weigel, Byron Kurt, Brent Pasco, Kristen Thomas, and all of these amazing coaches. While I'm gone at races, they're there helping run the trainings. And we've had some amazing athletes that train with us. And Craig Coskelly is one of our newcomers. I see he's tuned in.
He's on.
But we've got some, really fun people. And I just want to thank them all, because it's turned into, a family. And to be able to be part of your guys' journey as an athlete is pretty cool.
That's amazing. You've also had some wonderful stuff. It's been so busy the last few years. Some challenges and balancing it all, I'm sure. But tell us about the beautiful girls in your life. There's a couple of them.
Yes, Michelle and Athena. Athena, I have a 1.5-year-old little daughter, and she is just so amazing. People talk about kids and how hard they are and how much love there is, and you can comprehend it, but you can't understand it. And it's way harder than people tell you, and it's way more love that's just there. And I mean, it's incredible to bring a human into the world, and just seeing the joys that she has. It puts everything into perspective, and all these things are going around on in the world, and I'm able to have these 2 wonderful women in my life, and I'm just so proud.
As you should be. You're such a beautiful little family. That last, I think it was an Easter photo shoot was amazing. But Veronica's question is, will you guide your daughter towards the water and all of its sup and surf activities? Well, I just saw a video that you put up a couple weeks ago. She loves the water, doesn't she?
She absolutely has always loved the water. And it's hard as an athlete, and with trying to not push your kids to do what you love and to get them to do what they love, but you want to open their horizons and introduce them to things. So thanks, Susie, and Clear Image Pool, Spa, and Surf resort for having us. But it's I want her to learn how to swim and be safe in the water, but I'm not going to push her to do anything that she doesn't enjoy. It's been, of course, I want to be one of those dads where their kids surf in and all that, but I've been gentle with easing her into the ocean and trying to make every experience positive and not have her cry. But to be honest, I want to see her in the finals at Wimbledon. I want to see her in the U.S. Open finals.
That'd be cool too.
So
WBA?
Yeah.
Basketball?
She loves dribbling a basketball. It's so amazing how she picks up a real ball and dribbles it. She throws it down, picks it up, throws it
Really?
down, and that's pretty amazing. Yeah. So, I think it's just about introducing her to different things, and whatever she wants to do, then that's what I'll, help her do.
That's great. I know you're a wonderful dad, and that's like the perfect thing to say. And of course, water is important, but I don't know, all babies don't love, and she's not a tiny baby, toddlers don't love water the way I look at her face and how much everything you did and going underwater and, the smile that comes on her face is amazing. She's such a little cute mini me. So yesterday was your birthday, and there was another. I don't think you just think of it as an event because it was a personal event that you started. Ray, one of our former teammates who passed away due to cancer, you started an event for him for personal reasons, but a lot of us it's special too. So you want to mention that maybe? Because I'm gonna
Yeah, and
cry if I do.
well, I'm going to because
Okay.
Ray and I share the same birthday, so it was
Hmm.
also Ray's birthday yesterday, and
Yep.
he was a friend who I helped mentor him to some goals. He had this goal of paddling across Lake Tahoe, a 22-mile race, and
What you did.
I helped him, through his training, and I was like, hey, you got to go do this 5-mile race, but then when the race is over, you can't go drink beer. You have to go back on the water and put in 10 more miles. And he did all the work that he was supposed to do, and he was able to finish this race, and it was something that was really incredible that he did. A few months after that, he texted me, hey, I gotta talk to you. And he had this back problem that led into cancer, and he was fighting this battle of cancer. And while he was fighting, what do you do for somebody that's fighting? And one of our good, friends, Lorraine, her partner Wally is going through,
Hmm.
fighting his battle. And, what do you do for somebody? You just do the things that they would want to do, I think. So now people are doing 20 push-ups for Wally, and I encourage people to do those push-ups for Wally. And I just wanted to go paddle for Ray. And so I started this paddle for Ray originally while he was alive, just to kind of let him know that we were behind him and just
Support
to
him.
go do something. And, it's just, I didn't know that eventually we would be fighting a cancer battle with Michelle having breast cancer and us fighting that, and Athena fighting it as well. It happened while Michelle was pregnant. So it's something that started helping a friend, but really it's, something that's personal. And I want to thank all the people out there that the Monster 24-hour paddle as well. They get people together and raise funds and
Mm.
give money directly to people that need it. And we've been recipients of that thanks to Maggie Adams and Veronica, and just, all the people that do something for people that can't do it. I think it's, that's what makes us bond and be humans together. So
Hmm.
Ray, we love you, and Stormy, we love you, and happy birthday to Ray as well.
Yeah. Yesterday. That's very special. You mentioned that, within your own family, you fought a battle too. And I love Athena's same initials as you. You want to mention about her, both, or at least the story I think I remember hearing, first and middle name?
Well, it was
Just to,
it was it was accident with the, and, and it wasn't until a month later when we finally told one of our friends, Scott Kuda, and neither Michelle nor I realized that Athena Rose
had
Vela was the
noticed.
same initials as Anthony Raymond Vela.
Hmm.
I can't even, I mean, I feel so stupid. So we're finally telling one of our friends, hey, we're going to name her Athena Rose Vela. He's like, oh, it's a little AB. We're like, oh yeah. And he's like,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, same initials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy that it wasn't planned. It's just like
Hmm.
a something that happened. And Kelly Foudy, Shay's mom, made us this stencil that's hanging in her room that has ARV, and so that's for both of us. So kind of a
Very cool.
coincidental thing, but Michelle
Yeah.
came up with a wonderful name.
And I love that Athena, because she did go through a lot being inside Michelle's body. And, so she's that strength in the name Athena, and then the sweetness in the rose. And you see both of those in her already.
Yeah, it's really
Cool
true,
name.
and yeah, thank you, thanks, Michelle.
She gets credit for that one, huh?
Yeah.
So, Anthony, you do so much in the stand up paddle world and the greater world and have such a big heart and so much knowledge and skills. I know We didn't get it. I thought we might get a lot of really specific questions and stuff. We do have somebody who just moved to Newport Beach and is looking forward to meeting you. So maybe we have a new person in the group. That's great. You also had a whole bunch of people saying, and the hoot was great, and also somebody wanted to bring back the junior fiesta. Just so you know, you have lots of there's a couple of those actually going on. So tons of people
Yep.
following and listening, and hopefully everybody who knows you learned something new about you. I didn't realize you
Yeah,
started
and
in 2004.
yep, I'd love to bring back the Junior Pro and Youth Sup Fiesta, but there's so much competition with brands now. So a lot of the brands that were, sponsors, personal sponsors that help to sponsor the event, that's how these events happen, is from sponsorships. And so now that, anyone with, X amount of dollars can get a container of boards or paddles, the industry is really saturated. So these authentic brands that we were talking about earlier, it's hard for them to have the marketing money that they did before there was so much competition. What the industry needs is non-endemic brands to support the industry. We see stand-up paddling used in, so many different ways on TV commercials, and you go to the airport, you see stand-up paddling ads and all of these things. But you and I have talked about it. One day, Apple Computers is going to give me $100 million
That's
to
right.
create these events. And
Yeah.
we're going to do the Junior Pro Youth Sup Fiesta. We're going to do this tour on 12.6s where the athletes put their board in the containers that are provided for them, and they don't have to pay. We're going to house them and do all that stuff. I mean, the events, it just costs money. And that's the hardest part about putting on an event, is coming up with the money to do it to the level that you want to do it. And, the Junior Pro and Youth Sup Fiesta, we were working on about a $20,000 budget to do what we wanted to do. And it's hard to do that. And the industry is just so saturated. It's hard to find that $20,000. So if anyone out there has got the connection, you got the sponsorship dollars, we'll put on the most awesome. I'll get Kristen and Mel and Jack and Carl Ring and the whole crew and Ken, the whole crew back together, and we'll bring it back.
And I think you'll get the last three people who said hello are from Panama, Christy from Canada, Paolo from Milan. So I think we could have a worldwide event. Well, you already do worldwide events, but let's have one here.
It'll be a world tour.
A world tour. Anthony, I look forward to continuing as your friend and your student and a participant and a committee member to see all the great things that we have in our future. With stand-up paddling, we're in a little bit of a tough now, but I know that we're going to come out of this and be paddling together soon. Want to remind everybody that there is a Facebook group. We would love you to come and join if you're not in it. It's Supconnect Live Discussions, because there we can post pictures, we can post a link to performance paddling, as well as our training club. Anthony is an excellent coach who does privates, both in the surf and for race, and has lots of other things going on too. But anything that we talked about that you have questions about, and I'm going to throw up some pictures too, because I don't know if you guys saw the little ad. He's a hair farmer. Sometimes his hair is this big and sometimes it's gone. And we don't know, practice to practice, what we're going to get, which AV. Sometimes you have your hat on, you're hiding it, and it's like, oh, you just chopped your hair off.
Take your hat off, Anthony.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me. It was so great to talk with you, always, but appreciate you jumping in and doing this today. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen, and thanks to everyone at Supconnect. They've been involved with the sport for since the beginning, and Andre is a fantastic surfer, and Allie's been with them for a long time, and so I think this is a great thing, and they picked a perfect host. So honored to be your guest, Kristen, and thanks to everyone at Supconnect for all you've done for the sport through these last 10 to 12 years.
So agree. In fact, I'm going to put up a picture, because when I Googled Supconnect Live, you were like early ones way back, giving advice that I followed on your 10 favorite races, I think it was, a previous year. And I wrote them down and tried to go to as many as I could. All right. Take care, my friend. I will soon on a webinar or on the water.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks everyone. Bye, Kristen.
Bye. Thank you all for joining us.